Let's
From
go.
one upset to another, the San Francisco 49ers have not won a game in Minnesota for over 30 years, and the streak
1992.
continues. And the streak continues.
Unbelievable,
Sam
man.
Sam
Sam
Darnold,
Darnold.
the quarterback that we jokingly were like, "Oh yeah, let's
Yeah.
which of the veteran quarterbacks is going to have the most success on his new team? Oh, we'll throw Sam Darnold in there because technically he's
Yeah.
new because they lost JJ McCarthy to the
Mm-hmm.
injury, whatever. And Sam Darnold
It's 2
is
0.
is laughing it up right now at 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
He is
Yeah.
laughing it up. And granted, week one, beat a Giants team. Okay, fine. Good for
Yeah.
you. But to beat the
Whatever.
Niners, man,
Yeah.
as a Niner fan, man, tell me how you feel about this game. I know it's frustrating, but
Yeah.
do you think that was an earned win by Minnesota, or do you think Niners
Okay.
just messed it up?
So, I mean, honestly, the Minnesota played really well. Their
Mhm.
defense, like Brian Flores, his scheme, like even Brock was like, "That was crazy." They had the video of him saying it after the game.
Yeah.
He dialed it up. He dialed up the pressure, like we talked about, the blitz pressure, the
Mhm.
blitz scheme, like always putting pressure. A very aggressive defense. They sacked Purdy a bunch of times. I think it was about 5 times they sacked him.
Jeez,
So
yeah.
it was a very very well played defensive game, and then the Niners defense played great. Kurt Warner definitely is the player of the basically
Fred
defensive player
Warner.
of the year at this point.
Fred Warner.
Yeah, Fred Warner. Yeah, Fred Warner. Yeah, did I say someone else?
You said Kurt. You said
No,
Kurt
no,
Warner.
not Kurt Warner. Fred Warner. Yeah,
Fred Warner.
Fred Warner. So Fred Warner, middle linebacker, had the interception, had the punch out, and Aaron Jones to the
Yes.
field. Otherwise, the game would have been even more out of hand. So even with those plays, like at the end, the defense had the chance to stop him. They had Sam Darnold and some long third downs, and they still gave it up. Like Bosa not got to get pressure, man. Got to
Mhm.
set the edge, man. Got to do these things. Like you're one of the highest paid defensive players in the league. You got to make plays when they count. He did have a couple of sacks, which is great, but I think that like he's got to get pressure on Sam Darnold there and stop them from converting those first downs, especially when they're down 6. Another thing I had an issue with is the clock management. Like waiting so long to take the field goal when you're down already. It's impossible essentially to get the ball back. So
Yeah.
get down there, score as soon as you can. You didn't have enough timeouts. Shanahan, the clock management has been an issue since he's been in San Francisco. He's
Mhm.
very, very poorly manages game decisions, game clock decisions, play calling decisions at the end of games, at the end of halves. It's been an issue. It's like a pet peeve of a lot of fans. And
Yep.
so it's one of those things where, again, it shows its face, what he's calling, how he's doing it, when he's calling it in certain down and distances, there's certain situations, just like so frustrating because there's, there's the other thing when they were up, they were down 6 when they scored the other touchdown instead of going for 2 to like kind of like make it so if they scored a field goal again, they'd only be down 8. So then
Mhm.
they could do a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie. Instead, they're down 9, and they could only do the field goal and then hope to get the ball back on an onside. And
Right.
that didn't work because there's no
Right.
returning on. Nobody's getting onsides. And that was like a weak onside that they did anyway with Wishnowski.
Yeah.
So I mean that was my thing. They should have fed Mason more. I mean Purdy had a good game, but he had a couple of mistakes. With the tipped interception was like he kind of threw it into triple
Yeah.
coverage
It's a
essentially.
tipped interception. Yeah.
Yeah. So and that was kind of a strange play. And then the other turnover he had when the ball just slipped out of his hand, like that was kind of awkward. So I think
Yeah.
that was just the defense was tough on him. He was having trouble with the scheme, and essentially he had the couple of mistakes that really cost them the game. And I honestly would have liked to see them run the ball more because Jordan Mason, man, that guy is a beast. He had another
Mhm.
100-yard game.
I was
He
gonna say
looked
it a good game.
unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't stop him. The only thing that stops him is the refs essentially calling these downfield holding penalty calls, like on Debo or whoever they're calling it on now. Like,
Sure.
so I honestly would have liked to see them try to run the ball more and like not get away from that plan as much. Like when they got down,
Hmm.
they went out. They forgot who they were. Like they got to run the ball. And they started throwing the ball too much. And the last thing that was really frustrating was early in the game, they go for it on fourth down and goal. They don't get it. They're down at the goal line basically, and they like kind of like run. They don't run the ball. They try to pass it a bunch. They don't get it. They give the ball back to Sam Darnold, and then they have a safety in George Odom covering Justin Jefferson. Of course, he just barbecue chicken, as Shaq would say, right? And runs right by him.
Right.
97-yard touchdown. That was pretty
Yeah.
much the difference in the game. So,
Yeah.
like my list of complaints. So,
Hey,
sorry.
no, it's all good. I get it. That was definitely one of the more unexpected upsets I think of the weekend.
Yeah.
Being in Vegas and going to the sports books and seeing kind of all the games happening at one time was a really interesting experience. I don't get to do that often. And the one thing I noticed, and again, this is coming from a non-Niner fan, but it didn't look like the Niners played with any urgency throughout the entire game.
No.
It looked like, and you're right about like abandoning the run game. Like Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. He's next in line to get that big paycheck, and there's a lot of big talent that's on the receiving core. Obviously, Ayuk getting his money in, et cetera, et cetera. But if you have a working running game, if your backup running back, again, Christian McCaffrey is out. He's on IR, as you called he would be. For at least the next 4 games. He won't be coming back till week 6 at the earliest.
Said it here first. Beat Schefter.
And your backup is having back-to-back 100-yard games. Feed him.
Yeah.
Don't abandon the run. Why are you abandoning the run? I know you're pass happy. Mike McDaniel does the exact same thing, and these guys come from the same tree, if you will. They're pass happy. They say they're like run hard-nosed coaches, but they're pass happy. They want to pass the ball because it's sexy, it's exciting, it gets more yardage, it's whatever, right?
Mason had 74 yards at the half. He ends up with 100, so he only ran for 25 more yards in the second half.
That doesn't make
they're only down 6.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.